Greetings, comrades! Today's recipe is quite special for me. Back in my university years, here in Bulgaria at least, every university has a huge cantina. It's subsidized by the country, like they pay some of the money to the cantina, you pay the other part of the money as a student, and typically it's very cheap because the country pays for most of the food. Typically you can find there like these babushkas who are cooking there for their whole life, I guess, most of them, and they're pretty good in cooking a lot of food for a lot of people in a very tasty way, most of the time. There are some exclusions, of course, and this recipe is exactly from this type of cantina. You can find it there. It's called baked kashkaval.
Тези баби, дето готвят в студентския стол, кой мислиш ги учил да пекат кашкавал?
I know we have very original names for recipes, like straightforward to the point. Yeah, it's basically baked kashkaval, but it resembles a little bit some kind of a cheese pie because there are some flour involved, some eggs, some milk. I can assure you it's very tasty and it doesn't take a lot of time to prepare. So if you want to see what I have eaten as a student at least 2 times a week in the form of baked kashkaval, stick to this video and I'll show you how to prepare this so-called cheese pie. For this baked cheese, we'll need kashkaval or any other type of yellow cheese you have. We'll need 3 eggs and 300 grams of the cheese. We'll need some whole milk, around 200 grams, some baking powder, yes, some flour, around 60 to 70 grams, and some pepper and some salt, of course. It's that easy. The first thing we need to do is to take our cheese, which in that case is kashkaval, which I very much enjoy because of Slavic reasons, and I will just have 300 grams of it grated.
Да сложи цялата буца кашкавал, какво ми го теглиш тука?
Typically you can buy pre-grated, but I strongly advise you to buy fresh cheese and to grate it yourself. It's not that much of an effort and the results would be better because this cheese wouldn't have some starching agents and potato starch on top of it in order not to stick. After that, into a bowl we have 3 eggs, which will unite most of our other ingredients and make everything tasty and fluffy. We put some salt on top of the eggs and some pepper, so the pepper would go anywhere after that into all the other ingredients. And we very well mix with the whisk until the egg whites and the egg yolks are well incorporated with the salt and with the pepper. Once we mix our eggs, I add 200 milliliters of whole milk and I will wait around 5 to 7 spoons of flour, which is around 70 grams. I add the baking powder into the flour so it can mix well, so there won't be clumps of baking powder on one place and clumps of flour into the other place. That's why I prefer to mix them separately. And now is the time to make something like a very runny pancake mixture with the flour, the eggs, the milk and everything. And on top of this, of course, I will add a ton of cheese because why not? After all, we are making cheese pie or baked cheese, or call it however you want. We call it baked kashkaval basically. Yeah, very original, I know. Our recipes have the most original titles ever. I have this glass dish where I will bake our cheese.
Едно време го печахме в най-малко разджасалата тава.
But I, as you see, butter it very well. And it's mandatory to pour everything into slow motion, otherwise it won't be that good. We spread it very well. This is how it should look like before baking. I know it looks like puke, but we'll change that in the oven, where we need to bake it on 180 degrees Celsius until golden brown, which is around 35 to 40 minutes, or until it looks like that and it has a very nice crust on top. This crust is formed by the cheese, of course. I separate it with the knife from the dish a little bit while it is hot and I leave it to settle a little bit. Don't go and eat it after the oven because basically it will break down. When it cooled off, I'll try to separate some pieces from it. Let's see. Yeah, it's a success. It should look exactly like that, like basically like a cheese pie. Exactly what I was intended to prepare, exactly how I remember it from the student cantina 7 or 8 years ago how the babushkas there prepared it, and typically they served it with some nice salad. Every time it was different. Typically it was only cabbage, but now I have some tomatoes, cucumbers, parsley, cabbage, carrots, and I serve it with them.
Ей, ся доматчета, имаш краставички, не знам си какво, едно време само зели, братко. Само зели, нямаше друго, зели ядяхме. Като зайците.
You see, it's very soft and it's very tasty. So make sure to prepare it and let me know if you liked it. The Slav difficulty level for that baked cheese dish is 2 out of 5 because nothing difficult here. Just mix everything into a bowl and bake it. The only thing to look is basically not to over bake it and to leave it to settle a little bit. This is the hard part. With that said, this was all for today, comrades. I hope you enjoyed this very easy recipe and I'll love you next time.
Абе ти нали не го изяди цялото бе? Нали ми остави бе? Хей!